going on?
Thank you so much.
Feel like $1 million.
Shout out TMZ, you up?
Let me check out that rig.
TMZ stands for the Mayweather Zone.
How'd you find me, bro? I got my disguise on.
I love my TMZ family.
Welcome to TMZ Sports. Babcock here. Travis Kelce. He's finally addressing what we have all been waiting to hear him address. The Taylor Swift song that talks about his junk. Of course, we know Taylor's 12th studio album came out last week, The Life of a Showgirl. And you may remember, I think it was Friday, we were talking about the album and what songs we had liked, what songs we had listened to. And we talked about that one song, Wood, which again was about you-know-what on Travis. Now, if you forget what the song was, here is a little reminder, then we'll hear from Travis.
Forgive me, it sounds cocky. Hypnotize me and open my eyes. Redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my thighs.
There it was. It's pretty clear what she is speaking about. In the lyrics, well, it was time for a New Heights podcast episode. So Travis Kelce, sat down with his brother, Jason, and here's his reaction.
How do you feel about Wood? Let's ask this. How do you feel about Wood?
It's a great song.
Do you feel cocky? Do you feel cocky about the song Wood?
No,
like,
I mean,
no?
Any song that she
that's
references me.
That's
in
not just any song.
It's very like
this is a very specific you.
I love that girl. So what do you mean? Any song that she would reference me in any?
Well, it's not just you though. It's an appendage. It's not just you as a.
What?
It's a very specific thing.
I think you're not understanding the song.
Redwood tree ain't hard to see. I thought redwood was a little bit, that's a generous word, I think. I think if somebody wrote a song about me, it'd be like Japanese maple, sometimes can see.
That was really funny. Obviously, Jason trying to imply several times what the song was about. Travis wasn't taking the bait, but yeah, cocky.
The Oscar goes to Travis Kelce. Oh my goodness, we all knew it. It's a bit too on the nose with what Taylor was saying in this song, and a lot of people have been talking about that over the past week. It's like, geez, maybe just hint at it a little bit, but she was saying it with her chest. But it's really funny. I had to look up what a Japanese maple was. And
is it a thin tree?
It's not nearly what a redwood looks like. It's like, I don't want to say short, but it's not.
You heard it here.
It doesn't have a big trunk either.
Japanese, what is it? Maple?
Yeah, and this is funny because, they have back and forths all the time and everything, but this is
really
something that
funny.
Everyone wanted to know because this was the most popular song, the most talked about one, and we're going right to the guy that this song is about. Actually, some access that we usually don't get from guys that Taylor Swift has done songs about in the past. They don't really, sit in front of a microphone and get that opportunity.
Have we ever heard a reaction?
So this is really rare, Usually you would have to wait for a movie to come out or, another album when there's promo for all the former boyfriends of Taylor Swift. And now we have a guy that we have access to weekly and sometimes even more, based on post-game interviews and all that. So uncharted territory for someone who dates Taylor Swift, and we're happy for it because this is great content.
All right, moving on to Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny, who is in the middle right now of the biggest controversy. I was going to say sports, but it's one of the biggest controversies out there, period. A lot of people really upset that the Latin superstar was picked to perform the Super Bowl halftime show. And well, I don't think that this is going to quiet down that controversy anymore because we just posted a story not too long ago of a Bad Bunny who was at the New York Yankees game last night against the Blue Jays, Game 3 in the Bronx at Yankee Stadium. He remained seated during the playing of God Bless America. This was not the national anthem, just to be clear. It was during the seventh inning stretch. It was during the rendition of God Bless America, like is tradition. And while you see almost nearly everybody, Ed, in the section around him standing, Bad Bunny remains seated, and a lot of people are upset.
It's an interesting look because if you've ever been to a baseball game, a professional one, obviously you know that when the national anthem is played, they ask you to take off your hat and rise. But it's not necessarily so given during God Bless America. And in fact, I think most games I've been to, they don't actually play God Bless America.
Right.
So it's, on one hand, it's the American side of you wants to be outraged and you need to stand and take off your hat. But on the other, it's like, well, I mean, how many people are actually doing this at these games? And how many people know that they should be or shouldn't be or whatnot? But I think when you factor in why everybody is so upset, or at least one of the reasons why everybody's so upset about Bad Bunny, which is, of course, his comments about ICE, and some of his comments about President Trump, and some of his comments about why he didn't perform in America during his latest tour. I think this on top of it is adding, like you said, a little more fuel to the headline fire.
Right. I think there's two, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, Lucas. I think there is kind of two reasons that people have said they don't like the Bad Bunny selection. Like, one is that, hey, we just don't know his music. No one's suggesting, I hope, that his music isn't popular. He's one of the most popular artists in the world, period. But I think clearly his lyrics, for the most part, are not in English. Most of the people in America obviously speak English. Like, okay, breaking news. So I think that's one of the aspects to it. But the other aspect, like Ed just pointed to, and we've heard from the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has spoken about this recently. I think Kristi Noem recently spoke about this as well, that a lot of people feel like he is un-American, that he doesn't like America, and understanding that Puerto Rico is a territory of America, but that he is un-American. He doesn't like the values of this country. And because of that, they see him sit for the singing of this important song, and people say, hey, this is just further proof this guy hates the country.
And I think that this instance is going to spark outrage to fit that narrative.
Yeah,
I believe, think about Michael Strahan, someone who grew up with the military.
Yes.
Has the absolute highest respect for the military. He didn't put his hand on his heart for the national anthem before a game last season, I believe.
Okay.
And he faced so much backlash, everyone saying he's making a point, doing all this, blah, blah, blah. And he comes back and he's like, I'm sorry, I was in the moment. I love the military so much I can't even put it into words. So I don't think Bad Bunny was doing that here. I think what he was doing is he's sitting around, he's in one of the first few rows, so he's not getting the message that the entire stadium is standing, but then also at the same time, yes, God bless America. Some people like to do it, some people don't. It doesn't mean that they don't appreciate the song, it's not meaning that they're sending a message. I'm not calling this Colin Kaepernick 2.0. I refuse to do that because I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here, and I don't think, especially after signing on to do the Super Bowl, he's going to make a massive political statement here when he goes on SNL and he makes a joke about it and he's having fun and understand, like, you have 4 months to learn Spanish. He's leaning into all of it. I don't think he's going to turn around a few days later and be like, well, actually, you know what? Like, I hate America. No, that's not what he's doing.
Up next, Raja Jackson, formally charged with felony battery over that vicious in-ring wrestling assault back in August. How much time could he face if he's found guilty? The very latest when TMZ Sports returns right after this. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. It's a big update in the Raja Jackson case. Remember, Raja Jackson, of course, the son of UFC legend Rampage Jackson, a guy who was an MMA fighter himself. Remember, back in August 23rd, in the Los Angeles area, he had that violent in-ring attack. Now, we know he was ultimately arrested, and there has been some big news there. We'll get to that in just a second. If you've forgotten about this, obviously some time has passed now. This was the incident that has now caused Raja to be in a whole heap of trouble. Take a look.
You! Get
So there it was. We must have seen that like 100 times at this point, Ed, but it's still shocking to see. Now we know police investigated. They almost immediately began investigating. He was not arrested, though, Raja was, until September 18th. Now there's a big development that way.
Yeah, he's been formally charged, and there was a bit of a question of what he was going to be formally charged with. I remember in here, there was a lot of people, including you, I believe, advocated for potentially attempted homicide, attempted murder. He was actually hit with, it's kind of complicated, he was hit with battery with serious bodily injury that, because of the injuries Psycho Stu suffered in that attack, has been upgraded to a charge called battery with great bodily injury.
Okay.
So it's got like a magnifier on it, an up charge.
Yeah.
In addition to that, he was charged with one more count, a misdemeanor battery, and that's because, as you can see in the video, after he beats up Psycho Stu, another wrestler, Douglas Malo, comes in and tries to stop Raja, and he suffered injuries in that as well. So that's the second charge he's facing. Now, as for what that means for potential time behind bars, according to prosecutors, the initial charge, which was serious bodily injury, is up to 4 years. But with the modifier on it, it's an additional 3 years. So if he's convicted on that felony charge of battery with great bodily injury, it's up to 7 years.
Wow.
And the misdemeanor is an additional 6 months. So he's all total facing up to 7 years and 6 months behind bars over this incident. Now, it's obviously very unlikely that happens. As far as we know, he's a first-time offender, and we're sure that he has some kind of defense for this action. We don't know what it is yet, but he's due in court on Thursday for a hearing on the case, so we'll know a little bit more then. But that's it, man.
I really think he's fortunate. I do, Ed. I think Harvey too was saying, hey, I think that absolutely could have been charged as attempted murder. Reasonably, do you think those actions could lead to somebody losing their life? And I think the answer to that is yes. When you slam somebody down, you can even hear just the slam. I mean, Psycho Stu hit his head so hard, and he was unconscious from that moment on. Every one of those punches were heavy punches to an unconscious man, and I absolutely think he could have died. We spoke with Douglas, like who Ed just said. I think Douglas deserves a ton of credit here because he might have saved Psycho Stu's life. But Douglas was hurt too, and matter of fact, we're going to speak with Douglas, and we'll have that for you a little bit later in the week. We're going to talk to him about all of this. Is he perhaps interested in filing a civil lawsuit? So those are all things that we will ask him. But I think Douglas deserves a lot of the credit here as potentially really having saved Psycho Stu's life. Mark Sanchez, a 69-year-old stabbing victim, might have violated his employer's no weapons policy. Could his job be in jeopardy following that scary incident last weekend in Indy? Stay with us. Welcome back to TMZ Sports. Mark Sanchez, we obviously know that he is potentially in a heap of trouble, facing a whole litany of potential consequences for that Saturday morning violent incident that wound up with him fighting for his life with serious stab wounds to his torso. We know he could potentially lose his job. He's already being sued. And then you've got the 4 criminal charges that he's facing. He's not the only one that is potentially facing some retribution or some penalty here, because the alleged victim, the 69-year-old man, actually may be in some trouble with his job. And then you say, look, why would he be in trouble if he was the guy that was attacked? But Danny spoke with the company, and he may have violated a company policy, which could potentially result, Danny, in him losing his job.
Yeah, Restaurant Technologies, the employer that Perry told was delivering frying oil for the night he was attacked by Mark Sanchez. Turns out when speaking with them and a former employer to get some information on who Mr. Toll was, it found out that they have a no weapons policy. So we reached out to them and asked about it, like, hey, is this no weapons policy true? And they said that they do have language that restricts the possession of weapons while performing, working for the company. But they said since it's an active investigation, they don't want to make a determination if he violated that policy, because they still have to go through the process to determine, was he in the right? Was he just truly defended for his life?
So in other words, he was working, as we all know, he was just either dropping off oil or picking up oil from the restaurant, that they do not want their employees to have weapons on them. And obviously now we've learned that this guy feels Mark Sanchez attacked him, and he had the knife, and he used the knife to defend himself. So I know this company, and I'm sure they don't want bad publicity here. You've got a near 7-year-old man who is seemingly attacked, allegedly, by a guy who is 30 years younger than him, and they don't want that bad publicity. But I think, Danny, it wouldn't be shocking if you told me 2 months from now that he loses his
Yeah.
job over this. Maybe it doesn't matter because he's already suing Mark Sanchez.
Yeah,
You would think he's going to be in store for a pretty big payday here, but I would not be shocked if he ultimately lost his
I
job.
mean, it's a slippery slope when, like, you tell them, hey, you're not allowed to have weapons
Yeah.
on you while you're performing duties, but I don't feel like they anticipate that they're going to be blindsided in the middle of the night while doing their jobs. They also made it clear that their focus is on his recovery and making sure he can get back to 100%.
Right. So here, we're not saying that he is going to lose his job or even that he is going to be in trouble, but the reality is they have a policy, and at least the information that we have now, it seems that he likely did violate that policy. I think if you were probably to ask him, though, Perry Toll, better off dealing with your bosses after the fact, and if you really felt like Mark Sanchez was out there to try and hurt you and do something bad to you, I'd rather be fired by my boss than something worse happening. So we'll see what happens here. Again, he's 69 years old. He may never have worked again anyway because he has already filed this civil lawsuit. He doesn't specify how much money he's looking for, but he's not just suing Mark Sanchez. He's also suing Fox. We're talking about a lot of money here. So potentially a big payday on the line. Stay tuned. JJ Redick calls people idiots for thinking LeBron James was retiring. We'll hear from the Lakers head coach when TMZ Sports comes back right after this.
Well, everyone's on pins and needles across the country. You ready to go, LeBron? Where's the powder?
Left it at home.
LeBron, fans want to know where you're taking your talents this year. What's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is tough. In this fall, I'm gonna be taking my talents to Hennessy VSOP.
VSOP? And this was the conclusion you woke up with this morning?
That was the conclusion I woke up with this morning.
Why?
I feel like it's gonna give me the best opportunity to win more at hosting. And not only that, win at signature cocktails, win at having a good time, win at impressing guests, win at making memories, win at making it look easy, win at leaving people wanting more.
LeBron, appreciate it.
I like my decision.
Biggest eye roll ever. There, of course, was the decision, part 2. LeBron James not announcing that he's done with the Lakers or done playing basketball, no, but that he was pushing some Hennessy. JJ Redick says you're a big dummy if you thought it was going to be anything but an advertisement. Yeah, of course, the Lakers head coach asked this week about the commercial that has a lot of people talking, a lot of people really upset with LeBron for the whole decision, too. A lot of people thought he was making a really significant announcement about his career. People went out, they bought tickets, they did things like that because, again, they were anticipating this massive announcement only for the guy to try and sell you some cognac. Again, JJ Redick asked about it this week, and he says, how did you not know that this was an ad?
You guys are idiots. I'm asking, did anybody text you? We all knew it was an ad, right? I got a lot of texts. I'm sure I got some texts. Yeah. Any fun ones? No. I mean, I think most people that text me are also aware that it's probably an ad. So nobody was freaking out.
Idiots. He says, and look, the reality is there's no way that JJ Redick and the Lakers did not know what this was. Like I had told you, I think yesterday, we had gotten word somewhere around like 3:30 in the afternoon that this was a Hennessy ad. So there were people around the league that absolutely knew what this was and what this wasn't. And if you think that the Lakers weren't, in on that, involved with that, then maybe JJ's right, Lucas.
Yeah, but at the same time, a lot of people didn't have that access to LeBron James to know that this was an ad beforehand. And so, the reason why I think a lot of people were believing at this time that it could actually be something really big is because he did this just a few months prior, and they're like, he's not going to do that again, right? Like, this is the real one. This is the big one. And no, we were all wrong. And I mean, well, most of us were wrong. I mean, we're working on something that will actually show that some people did take it as a real announcement, and we'll have more on that later. I don't know when Ed will be ready to talk about that, but it's a funny one because there's some serious consequences to this. Some financial.
Yeah, no, I think people really did believe that this was some kind of monumental announcement here. And obviously we have fun with the whole Michael, Jordan, LeBron debate. But the reality is this guy is an immortal player. He will never be forgotten. And him playing his last season would be a big deal. And it's a big deal that he comes into town for the last time. And if you're a basketball fan, you obviously want to see this guy play. And I understand why people are mad. Are you going to tell me I'm wrong, Shannon?
How do you think LeBron should retire?
I
think
think Lucas is right that he is absolutely going to want a farewell tour. So I don't think he just does it and says, I'm done. I think he's going to announce it before the season. So that says to me that this is not his last year.
Go on Kai Cenat's stream. No, I think he should do what Tom Brady did. I think was great when he actually retired the second time. When he just was walking along the beach and he decided, you know, I'm going to make the video and I'm just going to lay it all out.
What are the chances that he does it like that?
Not like maybe 1%, 1% because he has access to a phone. But like other than that, like it would be zero because I think LeBron would legit. Like, is there any way he's going to say major press conference in 2 weeks from now, get all this hype into it, and then he will say he's going to cry. He's going to call his kids up there and teammate with Bronny.
Does anybody think there's a chance that he plays in his last game and then announces it after the fact that it was his last game?
He's going to wait after the offseason.
Right? I think he wants. If there was ever anybody that wants the farewell tour, it is LeBron James. To me, again, that says to me that this is not LeBron's last year, but stay tuned. The season is, just days away now. It's going to be fun. A lot of people think the Lakers could win a championship this year. It'd be a nice way to ride off into the sunset with an NBA championship. But that's probably getting ahead of myself. We are out of time here. We'll have a bunch to talk about tomorrow. We've got baseball games to talk about. We'll have a Thursday night football game to look forward to. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.
I'm a lawyer.